Listen to me. Life is not about how fast you start. It's about how focused you stay. I've seen too many people start the race strong, but lose sight of the finish line because they got distracted. Distractions are dream killers. You can't afford to take your eyes off your goal for a second. The moment you do, life will throw something in your path that will take you completely off course. You have to understand, your goal is your anchor. It's your why, your purpose, your reason for waking up at 4 in the morning when everyone else is still sleeping. If you don't stay locked in on your goal, you'll start listening to people who never believed in you. You'll start believing the lies in your head telling you it's too hard. You'll settle. I need you to lock in like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't be halfway committed. You can't give your goal 50% effort and expect 100% results. You've got to be all in. You've got to block out the noise, ignore the doubters, and keep pressing forward even when it's uncomfortable. The enemy of progress is distraction. Social media, people's opinions, comfort zones, they're all pulling you away from what you say you wanted. You've got to decide right now that nothing is more important than reaching that goal. Nothing. Not Netflix, not gossip, not fear. Here's the truth. The goal isn't going to chase you. You got to chase it. You got to run toward it every single day like your time is running out. Because it is. You don't have forever to make it happen. So I'm asking you, when life tests you, will you fold or will you focus? Will you let obstacles break you or will you use them to sharpen your vision? Will you keep your eyes on the finish line even when the path gets dark? The choice is yours. But remember, you will always move toward whatever you keep your eyes on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Always focus on your goal. Clarity is power, because when you know exactly what you're aiming for, you remove confusion, and confusion is the enemy of action. Too many people wake up every day with a vague idea of what they want. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. We want more and more money. That's not a goal. That's a wish. A goal is laser focused, measurable, and specific. You don't say, I want more money. You say, I want to earn $100,000 by December 31st, 2025 through my business. You don't say, I want to get in shape. You say, I want to run a 5K in under 25 minutes by the end of the summer. Clarity takes the dream out of the clouds and puts it into a form you can work toward. Without clarity, your brain doesn't know where to go. Your actions don't have direction, and you wander. Wandering wastes time, and time is the only thing you can't get back. When you have clarity, every decision becomes easier because you measure it against your goal. If an opportunity comes along, you ask, does this get me closer to my goal or farther away? If it's not aligned, you say no. Not because you're rude, but because you're focused. People without clarity say yes to everything and then end up overcommitted, tired, and unproductive. People with clarity say no to 90% of things so they can say a massive yes to the 10% that actually matter. And listen, saying no isn't selfish when it's in service of your vision. It's self-respect. Clarity also fuels motivation. When you can picture the end goal so clearly that you can almost touch it, your body and mind start working together to make it real. You wake up with energy because you're not just living, you're living with intention. Think about it. When you don't know what you're doing that day, you drag your feet, waste time, scroll aimlessly. But when you wake up and know exactly what you're going to do and why, you move with urgency. You're not just busy, you're productive. Let me be real with you. Clarity doesn't come from thinking about your goal once and then forgetting it. It comes from revisiting it daily, even hourly. You have to remind yourself, this is what I'm chasing, and this is why it matters. If you don't keep it front and center, life will fill your mind with 1,000 other things. Bills, drama, social media, all of it will try to hijack your attention. But clarity is like a compass. It keeps you pointed toward your North Star. Without it, you drift. The reason most people fail is not because they don't work hard. It's because they're working hard on the wrong things. If you don't know your exact target, you'll hit something, but it might not be what you wanted. Think of it like archery. You can pull back the bow with all your strength, but if you don't aim, your arrow will fly anywhere. Energy without direction is wasted energy. Clarity gives your energy purpose. Here's what I've learned. Clarity requires you to slow down and ask yourself tough questions. What do I really want? Why do I want it? What am I willing to sacrifice to get? Too many people avoid these questions because the answers are uncomfortable. They'd rather stay in a fog and face the fact that achieving their goal might mean giving up certain habits, relationships, or comforts. But the truth is, without answering these questions, you're not serious about your dream. You're just flirting with it. Clarity also demands that you write your goal down. I'm not talking about keeping it in your head. I mean writing it in a notebook, on a whiteboard, on sticky notes all over your house. Why? Because the moment you write it down, it becomes real. It's not just an idea floating in your mind. It's a commitment staring back at you. You can't hold yourself accountable to something vague. You need to see it every single day until it's burned into your brain. Once you have that clarity, your life starts to align. You'll notice you naturally begin making choices that support your goal without even thinking about it. You'll eat differently, talk differently, spend your time differently. Why? Because your goal isn't just something you're chasing anymore. It's part of your identity. That's when you become unstoppable. You're not trying to fit in your goal around your life. You're building your life around your goal. But here's the challenge. Clarity doesn't mean the path will always be clear. There will be days when you doubt yourself, when obstacles come out of nowhere, when things don't go as planned. The difference is that with clarity, you won't abandon your goal just because it's hard. You'll adjust your strategy, but you'll keep moving forward because the destination hasn't changed. Oh, man, without clarity, every setback feels like a sign to quit. With clarity, every setback is just a detour. Clarity also protects you from comparison. When you know exactly where you're going, you stop looking left and right to see what everyone else is doing. You don't care if someone else is moving faster or slower because your race is your race. The fastest way to lose focus is to start measuring your journey against someone else's. Clarity locks your eyes on your own finish line. Let me tell you, clarity is not something you get once and keep forever. It's something you have to maintain. Life changes, goals evolve, priorities shift. You have to regularly check in with yourself. Is this still my goal? Is this still my why? If the answer is yes, double down. If the answer is no, adjust. But adjust with intention, not because you got distracted. People ask me all the time, Eric, how do you stay motivated? I tell them, I don't rely on motivation. I rely on clarity. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel like running through a brick wall. Other days you feel like staying in bed. When you have clarity, you act regardless of how you feel. You don't negotiate with yourself because you already decided where you're going. The decision was made on day one. Every day after that is just execution. Clarity is power because it brings everything into alignment. Your thoughts, your actions, your habits, your environment, and when everything is aligned toward a single goal, progress is inevitable. It may be slow sometimes, it may be messy sometimes, but it will happen. The only way to fail is to lose sight of the target, and that's a choice you control. So stop wandering, stop hoping, stop talking about it someday, sit down, get quiet, and figure out exactly what you want and why. Make it so clear that you can see it, hear it, taste it, write it down, commit to it. Then protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future self is counting on you to get clear today so you can live free tomorrow. And once you have that clarity, don't you dare let go of it. Guard it, feed it, chase until it's yours. Because once you know exactly what you want, there's nothing in this world that can stop you, except you. Cutting out all distractions that pull you away from progress is one of the hardest but most necessary things you'll ever do if you're serious about reaching your goal. Most people underestimate just how powerful distractions are. They think distractions are just little time wasters here and there. A few minutes on social media, one phone call from a friend, one Netflix episode before bed. But here's the truth. Distractions don't just steal your time. They steal your focus, your momentum, and your energy. Every time you give attention to something that's not moving you toward your goal, you're losing more than minutes. You're losing the mental sharpness you need to stay in the fight. Distractions are sneaky because they often come disguised as harmless or even urgent. You'll be working on your dream, and suddenly you get a notification, a text, or an email. You tell yourself it'll just take a second, but that a second turns into 10 minutes, then 30, and now you've lost the rhythm you had. you had. Your brain has to restart, and that restart costs you precious momentum. Imagine you're a sprinter, and every 100 meters, someone makes you stop, turn around, and start again. You'd never win the race. That's exactly what distractions do to your progress. The worst part, many of your distractions come from people you know and care about. Friends who don't share your vision will call you up to hang out. Family members will ask you to do things that eat into your work time. Sometimes it's not even malicious. They just don't understand how badly you want this. But if you're not careful, you'll start living by their schedule instead of your own. You have to be willing to have uncomfortable conversations and set boundaries. That means telling people, I can't right now, I'm working, even if they roll their eyes or get offended. Your dream is not a group project, and not everyone will get a vote on how you pursue it. Social media is one of the biggest distractions in the modern world. Think about it. You go on to check one thing, and the next thing you know, you're deep into a rabbit hole of videos, memes, and arguments with strangers. Meanwhile, your real goals are sitting there, untouched. Social media is designed to steal your attention. It's not neutral. Every beat, every notification, every like is engineered to keep you coming back. If you don't take control, you'll look up in 5 years and realize you've been watching other people live their dreams instead of building your own. That's why you have to treat social media like fire. Use it for a purpose or it will burn you. But distractions aren't just external. Some of the most dangerous distractions are the ones that come from inside your own head. Worry, self-doubt, overthinking. You can waste hours replaying mistakes or imagining worst-case scenarios that will probably never happen. That's mental energy you could be using to take action. The key is to notice when you're spiraling and pull yourself back to the present moment. Ask yourself, is what I'm thinking about right now moving me forward or keeping me stuck? If it's the latter, you gotta shift your focus immediately. Another hidden distraction is perfectionism. People think perfectionism means you have high standards, but in reality, it often means you're procrastinating. You tell yourself you can't start until everything is perfect. The timing, the tools, the plan. Meanwhile, weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. The truth is, your plan will never be perfect. You'll never have all the answers before you start. Progress beats perfection every time. Don't let the illusion of a getting ready distract you from actually doing the work. Entertainment is another big one. There's nothing wrong with rest and relaxation. In fact, it's necessary. But most people are not resting, they're escaping. They're binge watching shows, playing games, and scrolling endlessly, all while telling themselves they'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. Entertainment has its place, but when it starts to eat into the time you set aside for your goals, it's not entertainment anymore. It's sabotage. You've got to learn the difference between taking a break and abandoning your mission. Sometimes distractions come disguised as opportunities. This one's tricky because not every good thing is a right thing for you right now. Just because someone offers you a new project, partnership, or idea doesn't mean it belongs in your life. You have to measure every opportunity against your main goal. If it doesn't directly move you forward or align with your vision, it's a distraction, even if it looks exciting. Remember, focus isn't just about saying no to bad things. It's about saying no to good things that aren't the best things for you right now. Cutting out distractions also means creating an environment that supports focus. Your surroundings matter. If your workspace is cluttered, your mind will be cluttered. If your phone is buzzing every 5 minutes, your attention will keep getting pulled away. You've got to take control of your space. That might mean turning off notifications, putting your phone in another room, or setting up a dedicated work area that's free from interruptions. Don't wait for the perfect environment to magically appear. Create it. You also have to protect your time like it's gold, because it is. Time is the most valuable resource you have. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. You can make more money, you can rebuild relationships, but you can't rewind the clock. That's why you need to schedule your days with intention. If something isn't on the schedule, it's easy for distractions to fill that space. Block out time for your most important work and treat it like an unbreakable appointment. No calls, no visits, no detours, just execution. Cutting out distractions is not easy because distractions are often comfortable, they're familiar. They're the things you turn to when you don't feel like doing the hard work. That's why eliminating them requires discipline and honesty with yourself. You got to be willing to admit when you're choosing comfort over progress. You got to remind yourself that comfort zones are beautiful places, but nothing grows there. Every time you choose the distraction, you're choosing to delay your dream. It's also important to replace distractions with purposeful habits. It's not enough to say, I'll stop doing this. You have to decide what you'll do instead. If you stop scrolling on your phone, maybe you read a book or work on your craft. If you stop hanging out with unmotivated friends, maybe you join a group of like-minded people who push you forward. Nature hates a vacuum. If you don't fill the space with something productive, the old distractions will creep back in. Over time, cutting out distractions becomes a habit. At first, it's a constant battle. You have to consciously say no over and over again. But eventually, your brain learns that you're serious. You'll start to notice how good it feels to make progress. You'll get addicted to results instead of noise. And when you get to that point, distractions will lose their power over you. Understand this. Distractions are not just harmless fun. They're the difference between success and failure. Every major achievement you've ever admired came from someone who was willing to focus when it would have been easier to drift. The people who reach their goals are not always the smartest, the richest, or the most talented. They're the ones who stayed locked in while everyone else was chasing shiny objects. So you've got a choice to make. Are you going to keep letting distractions rob you of the future you could have? Or are you going to get serious about protecting your focus? Every time you say no to a distraction, you're saying yes to your dream. Every time you cut out something that doesn't serve your goal, you're making space for something that does. The more space you create for focus, the faster you'll move. At the end of the day, it's simple. You can't go north and south at the same time. You can't chase your goal and entertain every distraction that comes your way. One will win and the other will lose. Make sure the winner is your dream. When you look back years from now, you'll be grateful you chose progress over noise, purpose over comfort, and focus over distraction. Because that's the choice that will take you exactly where you said you wanted to go. Committing to daily action is the secret ingredient that separates people who dream from people who achieve. Too many people are waiting for the perfect day to start, the perfect burst of motivation, or the perfect set of circumstances. That day never comes. If you want to hit your goal, you have to show up for every single day, whether you feel like it or not. The truth is, success is not built in one giant leap. It's built in thousands of small, consistent steps stacked on top of each other over time. Every action you take is a brick. The more days you stack those bricks, the stronger your foundation becomes. Daily action is powerful because it compounds. At first, it feels like nothing is happening. You're making calls, sending emails, working out, writing, practicing, and the results are barely noticeable. That's where most people quit. They think this isn't working because they can't see the payoff yet. But that's like planting seeds and expecting a tree the next morning. Consistency is the water, the sunlight, and the patience that to a harvest. You can't water your dream once a week and expect it to grow. You have to show up daily. There's a dangerous myth that says you have to do something huge every day to make progress. You don't have to run a marathon every day. You just have to move forward. Some days will be big breakthroughs, and some days will be small maintenance work. What matters is that you never stop moving. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Some days you're making huge strides up the trail, and other days you're just taking slow, steady steps. But as long as you're still climbing, you're getting closer to the top. Daily action also builds discipline. Motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you wake up fired up, ready to crush the day. Other mornings you wake up tired, frustrated, or unmotivated. The people who win are not the ones who only work on the days they feel great. They're the ones who work on the days they feel terrible too. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs wait for inspiration. Professionals create it by showing up every day. When you commit to daily action, you also develop momentum. Momentum is that invisible force that makes everything easier once you get going. The first few days or weeks are the hardest because you're fighting against inertia. Your old habits, your comfort zones, your excuses. But once you've been consistent long enough, the work starts to feel natural. It becomes part of your routine. Missing a day feels uncomfortable. That's when you know you built real momentum. Here's the thing. Daily action doesn't just move you closer to your goal. It transforms you along the way. Every day you show up, you're not just doing the work. You're becoming the kind of person who does the work. You're building confidence because you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through. You're building skill because repetition is the fastest teacher. You're building resilience because you're learning to push through resistance. Even before you hit the goal, you're already leveling up as a person. But daily action requires structure. You can't just wing it every day and hope for the best. You need a plan, not a perfect plan, but a simple one that tells you exactly what needs to get done. This eliminates decision fatigue. If you wake up and have to figure out from scratch what to do, you're more likely to procrastinate. But if you already know the 3 most important things to accomplish that day, you can get straight to work. Planning your actions in advance makes it easier to stay consistent. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking they have to feel ready before taking action. Readiness is a trap. You don't get ready and then act. You act and then you get ready. The confidence you're waiting for will come from doing, not from thinking about doing. The more days you take action, the more prepared and capable you'll feel. But you'll never get there if you keep waiting for the perfect conditions. Daily action also forces you to face the truth about your priorities. If you say something is important to you, but you don't work on it daily, it's not really a priority. It's just a preference. People make time for what matters. If your goal truly matters, you'll carve out time for it every day, even if it's just 30 minutes. If you can't commit at least that, you have to be honest about whether you really want it. You also have to protect your daily action from sabotage. Life will always try to get in the way. Unexpected errands, last-minute invitations, emergencies. That's why you need non-negotiable time blocks for your goal. Treat them like you would a meeting with your boss. You wouldn't cancel a meeting with your boss just because you were tired or busy. Treat your dream with the same respect. Another truth about daily action is that it often feels boring. That's right, it's not always exciting. The grind isn't glamorous. Most of the time, it's repetitive, ordinary work that nobody sees. That's why so many people give up. They mistake boredom for a lack of progress. But boredom is a sign that you're building habits. The magic is in doing the small, unsexy things every day without losing sight of why they matter. Daily action also helps you adapt. When you're working on your goal every day, you get constant feedback. You see what's working and what's not. You can make small adjustments quickly instead of waiting months to find out you're on the wrong track. This keeps you from wasting time and helps you stay active. You're not locked into one rigid plan. You're constantly refining your approach while keeping your eyes on the end goal. One of the most powerful things about daily action is that it builds trust, not with others, but with yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and then actually do it, you send a message to your brain. I can count on me. Over time, that self-trust becomes unshakable. You stop needing outside validation because you know you're doing the work. And when you trust yourself, you take bigger risks, chase bigger goals, and handle setbacks with more confidence. Daily action also sets you apart from the competition. Most people are inconsistent. They work hard for a few days, then disappear for a week. They sprint and then crash. But if you show up every day, even at a steady pace, you'll outlast and outperform most people. Consistency is the great equalizer. It can make up for lack of talent, lack of resources, and lack of connection. Over time, steady effort will beat sporadic bursts every single time. Finally, daily action turns your goal from a dream into an inevitability. If you take even small steps every single day, the only possible outcome is progress. It might take longer than you hope, but it will happen. You won't have to wonder if it's possible because you'll see the results stacking up. The only way you can fail is by stopping. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop telling yourself you'll start when you have more time, more money, more confidence. Start now with what you have, where you are. Do something every single day that moves you closer to your goal. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable, even if no one is watching, especially if no one is watching. Because the work you put in when no one's watching is what sets you up for the moment when everyone is. If you can commit to daily action, you won't just reach your goal. You'll transform into the kind of person who can set bigger goals and crush them too. Your dream deserves more than occasional attention. It deserves daily commitment. Show up for it every day without excuses, until the day you can stand in the middle of your success and say, I built this, one day at a time. Surrounding yourself with people who push you toward your dream is one of the most strategic and life-changing decisions you will ever make. You can have all the talent in the world, the clearest vision, and the strongest work ethic. But if you're constantly surrounded by people who don't believe in you, who don't understand your mission, or who pull you back into old habits, your progress will slow to a crawl. The people you spend the most time with will either water your dream or drain it. There's no neutral ground. Humans are wired for influence. Whether you realize it or not, you absorb the energy, attitudes, and behaviors of the people you're around most often. If your closest circle is lazy, negative, and unmotivated, that energy will rub off on you. You might think you're immune, but over time, their habits and mindsets start becoming yours. On the flip side, when you're around driven, focused, and optimistic people, you naturally raise your own standards to match theirs. You start thinking bigger, moving faster, and believing more deeply in what's possible. The truth is, most people settle. They settle for average effort, average goals, and average lives. And if you let them, they'll convince you to settle too. They'll say things like, "It don't work so hard," or "You're too obsessed," or "Why don't you just relax?" They're not necessarily trying to harm you. They just can't see the world the way you do. Your big vision makes them uncomfortable because it reminds them of what they're not doing. That's why you have to be intentional about your inner circle. You need people who will challenge you to go further, not people who will convince you to slow down. When you're pursuing a goal, there will be days when you feel tired, discouraged, or doubtful. This is when the right people become your greatest asset. They'll remind you of why you started. They'll push you when you want to quit. They'll call you out when you're making excuses. That kind of accountability is priceless. You can tell yourself all day long that you'll keep going, but when you have people in your life who won't let you quit on yourself, your chances of success skyrocket. It's not just about motivation, though. The right people can also open doors for you that you can't open on your own. They can share resources, introduce you to new opportunities, and offer guidance based on their own experiences. You could spend years trying to figure something out by yourself, or you could spend time with someone who's already been where you want to go and learn from them in weeks. That's the power of a strong network. But let's be clear, surrounding yourself with people who push you doesn't happen by accident. You have to seek them out. They're not going to magically appear in your living room. That means going to an event, joining groups, or connecting with people online who share your ambition. It means stepping out of your comfort zone and introducing yourself to people who intimidate you in the best way. People who make you think, I need to raise my game to keep up with them. Sometimes creating the right environment means making the painful decision to distance yourself from certain people. This can be incredibly hard, especially if those people are longtime friends or even family. But here's the truth. Your future is more important than your comfort. If someone's presence in your life is constantly pulling you backward, you owe it to yourself to limit their influence. You don't have to cut people off completely, but you do have to control how much access they have to your energy. You also need to understand the difference between people who cheer for you and people who challenge you. Cheering is nice. It feels good to have people clap for you and tell you you're doing great. But if all you have are cheerleaders, you'll get complacent. You also need challengers, people who love you enough to be honest with you, even when it's uncomfortable. They'll tell you when you're slacking, when you're thinking too small, and when you're capable of more. That kind of tough love can sting in the moment, but it's often the exact push you need to level up. The people who push you toward your dream will also inspire you simply by the way they live. You'll watch their discipline, their habits, their resilience, and it will make you want to step up your own game. Inspiration by proximity is powerful. You don't even have to be in constant conversation. Just being around someone who's operating at a high level will change how you think about your own standards. There's another benefit to surrounding yourself. The right people. It normalizes success. If you're in an environment where mediocrity is the norm, your big dreams will always feel unrealistic. But when you're in a room where people are achieving amazing things as a matter of course, your own goals stop feeling impossible. You start to see that if they can do it, so can you. You absorb their mindset, and that shifts everything. However, it's important to remember that relationships are a two-way street. You can't just take from people who push you. You have to contribute as well. If you want to be surrounded by high achievers, you have to bring value to the table. That might mean sharing your skills, offering encouragement, or simply being someone who follows through on their commitments. Nobody wants to pour into someone who's only there to take. If you want great people in your circle, you have to be a great person in theirs. Surrounding yourself with people who push you doesn't mean you'll always agree with them or even like everything they say. In fact, if you're never challenged or made uncomfortable, growth requires friction. If your environment is always comfortable, it's probably not pushing you hard enough. The right people won't let you settle into comfort. They'll keep stretching you toward the next level. Sometimes the people who push you will do it quietly. They may not give you long speeches or pep talks, but their own relentless pursuit of excellence will force you to confront your own excuses. Other times, they'll be the ones calling you late at night to remind you that you finished that project. Both types are valuable. Don't discount someone just because their style of pushing is different from what you're used to. Here's the reality. No one succeeds alone. The self-made myth is exactly that, a myth. Every great achiever has a team, a mentor, or at least a small group of people who believed in them and refused to let them quit. Your dream might be yours alone to chase, but the journey is a lot more achievable and a lot more fulfilling when you have the right people running beside you. So take inventory of your circle. Who in your life is pushing you to grow and who is holding you back? Who celebrates your wins, challenges your excuses, and inspires your vision? And who distracts you, drains you, or tries to pull you back into old patterns? Be honest about those answers. Then start making adjustments. Spend more time with the ones who push you forward. Limit your exposure to the ones who hold you back. They actively seek out new connections who align with where you're going, not just where you've been. In the end, the people you surround yourself with are either pulling you closer to your dream or pulling you further away from it. If you want to go far, you need a team that fuels your fire, sharpens your focus, and refuses to let you settle for less than you're capable of. Build that team, protect that environment, and let the right people push you all the way to the finish line. Obstacles are not signs to turn back. They are tests to prove how badly you want your goal. Every dream worth chasing comes with challenges, setbacks, and unexpected detours. You can't get to the mountaintop without climbing the steep slopes, and you can't reach your vision without facing resistance along the way. Too many people see obstacles as the end of the road, when in reality, they are simply part of the journey. They are not there to stop you, but to shape you. Each one forces you to grow, adapt, and find new ways forward. When you commit to a big goal, you're also signing up for problems you haven't even imagined yet. You might lose resources, face rejection, encounter doubters, or run into technical and logistical issues that make you want to throw in the towel. This is where your mindset makes all the difference. People who quit see an obstacle as a brick wall. People who persevere see it as a puzzle to solve. The wall might be tall, but it can be climbed, broken through, or walked around. If you're willing to keep going, obstacles are a natural filter. They weed out the half-hearted from the truly committed. If your goal were easy, everyone would do it. But the very fact that it's hard is what makes it valuable. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you put distance between yourself and the people who gave up. That's why you can't let a setback convince you that you're on the wrong path. Often, the obstacle is the path. The challenge you're facing right now might be the exact thing that prepares you for the next stage of your journey. When you encounter an obstacle, the first step is to control your reaction. It's natural to feel frustrated, angry, or discouraged, but staying in that emotional state will cloud your judgment. Instead, pause and shift your focus from a why is this happening to me to what is this trying to teach me? That question changes everything. Suddenly, you're not a victim of the problem. You're a student of it. You're looking for lessons, strategies, and ways to improve. Persevering through obstacles also builds resilience. Resilience is like a muscle. It grows stronger the more you use it. The first time you face a big setback, it might feel like the end of the world. But after you've survived a few of them, you realize you're capable of far more than you thought. You stop fearing obstacles because you know you've beaten them before. That confidence is priceless, and it only comes from experience. It's important to remember that perseverance doesn't mean blindly charging forward without adjusting your approach. Sometimes an obstacle is a sign that you need to change your tactics, not your goal. Think of it like driving. If the road is blocked, you don't abandon your destination, you just take a different route. The same applies to your dream. Be stubborn about where you're going, but flexible about how you get there. That flexibility is often the key to turning a setback into a breakthrough. One of the most common obstacles people face is self-doubt. It's easy to push through external problems, like lack of money or lack of time, when you believe in yourself. But when you start questioning your own abilities, it becomes tempting to quit. That's why perseverance starts in the mind. You have to decide, before you even hit the obstacles, that you will keep going no matter what. Make quitting the last possible option. Tell yourself, I might slow down, I might rest, but I will not stop. Another challenge is the opinions of others. When people see you struggling, some will try to talk you out of their dream. They'll say things like, oh, maybe this isn't for you, or you've given it a good try. Why not move on? They mean well, but they don't understand your vision. If you listen to them during your toughest moments, you might walk away from something that was just about to work. Often, the greatest breakthroughs come right after the point where most people quit. Obstacles can also force you to become more creative. When the straightforward approach fails, you have to think differently. You have to experiment, innovate, and try methods you've never considered before. This is where some of the best ideas come from necessity. Many of the world's most successful people found their winning strategies only after their original plans failed. If everything had gone smoothly, they never would have pushed themselves to think outside the box. It's also worth noting that perseverance doesn't mean you won't feel tired, scared, or frustrated. Those feelings are part of the process. The difference is you don't let those feelings dictate your actions. You keep moving forward even when it's uncomfortable. That's where the growth happens, not when things are easy, but when you keep showing up despite the difficulty. Sometimes the obstacle isn't a single big event, but a long period of slow progress. This can be even harder to deal with because there's no dramatic problem to solve, just the grind of showing up every day without seeing big results. This is where most people fade away. They mistake a lack of visible progress for a lack of actual progress. But growth often happens under the surface, like roots spreading before a tree breaks the soil. Perseverance means trusting the process even when you can't see the payoff yet. You can make perseverance easier by breaking your big goal into smaller, more manageable steps. When you hit a wall, focus on the next small action you can take. This keeps you from feeling overwhelmed and gives you a sense of momentum. Celebrate those small wins. They're proof that you're still in the fight, still moving forward. Another key is to keep your vision in front of you at all times. When the obstacle feels bigger than your dream, you'll want to quit. But when your dream feels bigger than the obstacle, you'll find a way through. Write it down, visualize it daily, remind yourself of why you started. That emotional connection to your goal is the fuel that keeps you going when your energy runs low. It's also helpful to look back at past challenges you've overcome. Remind yourself of times when you thought you couldn't make it, but you did. This gives you proof that you're stronger than you feel in the moment. If you've beaten hard things before, you can beat this too. And here's the beautiful part. When you persevere through obstacles, you inspire others. People are watching you, even if you don't realize it. Your ability to keep going despite challenges might be the exact thing that gives someone else the courage to face their own struggles. Your perseverance doesn't just change your life. It can ripple out and change others' lives too. In the end, obstacles are not there to destroy you. They are there to refine you, to prepare you for the success you're chasing. Each one you overcome adds to your story, your strength, and your capacity to handle even bigger challenges in the future. The road to your goal will not be straight, smooth, or easy. But if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, no matter how many times you stumble, you will get there. So the next time you hit an obstacle, don't let it break you. Let it teach you. Let it push you. Let it sharpen you into the kind of person who doesn't just reach their goal, but becomes unshakable along the way. The dream is worth it, and so are you. Keep going. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, and yet it's the one most people waste without realizing it. You can lose money and earn it back, lose possessions and replace them, but once time is gone, it's gone forever. That's why if you're serious about reaching your goal, you have to learn how to manage your time like it's gold. Every hour you spend is either moving you closer to your vision or pulling you further away from it. There's no such thing as neutral time. You're either investing it or wasting it. Managing your time effectively starts with understanding that you don't find time for what matters. You make time for it. People who say, "I just don't have time," aren't telling the truth. What they mean is, it's not a priority right now. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's necessary if you want to take control of your schedule. Your goals will never magically fit into your life. You have to rearrange your life to fit your goals. That means making deliberate choices about how you spend your days, hours, and even minutes. One of the biggest mistakes people make with time is thinking they can do everything. They say yes to too many commitments, try to juggle too many projects, and end up spreading themselves so thin that nothing gets done well. If you want to hit a big goal, you have to focus. That means saying no to a lot of good things so you can say yes to the right things. Every time you commit to something, ask yourself, does this move me closer to my goal? If the answer is no, you have to be willing to turn it down, even if it's tempting. Another key to managing time is knowing your peak performance hours. Everyone has certain times of day when they're naturally more alert, focused, and creative. For some, it's early in the morning. For others, it's late at night. The mistake most people make is filling their peak hours with low-value tasks like checking email or scrolling social media. Instead, you should guard those hours for your most important, high-impact work. Do the things that require the most energy and concentration when your brain is at its best. Save routine or mindless tasks for the times when your energy naturally dips. Distraction is one of the greatest time thieves of our era. We live in a world that's constantly fighting for our attention, notification, messages, advertisements, endless entertainment. If you're not careful, you can lose hours every day to mindless scrolling and jumping between tasks. The cost isn't just the lost time. It's also the mental fatigue that comes from constantly switching focus. To manage your time well, you have to protect your attention. That means turning off notifications, creating dedicated workspaces, and setting boundaries with people who interrupt you unnecessarily. Another powerful strategy is time blocking. This is where you divide your day into chunks and assign each chunk to a specific activity. Instead of trying to squeeze your goals into the cracks of your day, you make them the foundation of your day. For example, you might block 7 to 9:0 a.m. for deep work on your project, 9 to 10:0 a.m. for exercise, and so on. The key is to treat these blocks like appointments you can't miss. If you wouldn't skip a meeting with your boss, don't skip a meeting with yourself. Part of managing your time effectively is also managing your energy. You can have a perfectly planned schedule, but if you're exhausted, stressed, or burned out, you won't execute it well. That's why rest is not a waste of time. It's an investment in your productivity. Sleep, exercise, and breaks are just as important to your progress as hard work. Too many people try to power through without taking care of themselves, only to crash and lose more time in the long run. It's also crucial to recognize the difference between being busy and being productive. A full calendar doesn't mean you're making progress. You can spend all day answering emails, attending meetings, and crossing little things off your to-do list, and still be no closer to your goal. Productivity is about doing the right things, not just more things. Before you start your day, identify your top 1 to 3 priorities, the things that, if you accomplish them, will make the biggest difference. Do those first before you let the rest of the world's demands take over. Procrastination is another silent killer of time. Often Often we procrastinate not because we're lazy, but because we feel overwhelmed, afraid, or unsure where to start. The best way to break procrastination is to take the smallest possible action. Don't think about writing the whole book. Just write the first sentence. Don't think about completing the entire project. Just spend 5 minutes on it. Action creates momentum. And once you start, it's much easier to keep going. Another thing to keep in mind is that managing your time is about alignment. Every hour you spend should align with the person you want to become. If your goal is to build a business, you need to spend time on skills, strategies, and actions that grow that business, not on things that keep you comfortable but stagnant. This means constantly evaluating how you spend your time and making adjustments as your priorities shift. Surrounding yourself with people who respect your time is also essential. If you're always around people who don't have clear goals or discipline, they'll waste your hours without even realizing it. They'll call you in the middle of the day for no reason, pull you into activities you didn't plan for, or pressure you into doing things that don't serve your vision. You have to be willing to say, I can't right now. I'm working on something important. Protecting your time means protecting your future. Technology can be both a blessing and a curse when it comes to time management. Used well, it can automate repetitive tasks, keep you organized, and free up mental space. Used poorly, it can eat hours of your life with nothing to show for it. Be intentional about your digital habits. Use tools and apps that help you focus, track your time, and keep your commitments in sight. But don't let them become another source of distraction. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to start thinking of time in terms of return on investment. Ask yourself, if I spend an hour on this, what will I get back? If the answers are not much, it might not be worth doing. High return activities are the ones that move you closer to your goal, improve your skills, or create opportunities for the future. Low return activities are usually urgent, but unimportant, like endlessly organizing files or answering every single email right away. It's also important to review your time regularly. At the end of the week, look back and add, I take my time in a way that matches my priorities. This reflection will help you see where you're leaking hours and where you can improve. It's easy to drift into bad habits without realizing it, but a weekly review keeps you accountable and intentional. Sometimes, managing your time also means recognizing when something no longer deserves your time. Just because you started a project or commitment doesn't mean you have to finish it if it no longer serves your bigger goal. Learning to let go of low-value activities frees up time for the things that matter most. Ultimately, mastering your time is about mastering yourself. It's about discipline, clarity, and the courage to prioritize what truly matters over what's easy or convenient. When you control your time, you control your life. And when you start treating every minute like it's precious, you'll find that you can accomplish far more than you ever thought possible. Time is the great equalizer. Everyone gets the same 24 hours each day. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't luck, talent, or even resource. It's how they choose to spend those hours. If you want to reach your goal, you can't afford to waste a single one. Plan it, protect it, and pour it into the actions that bring you closer to the life you're chasing. Your future depends on what you do with your time today. No one achieves a great goal alone. Even if you're the one putting in the hours, making the sacrifices, and pushing yourself through the hard days, there will always be people along the way who influence your journey, for better or worse. That's why it's essential to surround yourself with the right environment, the right energy, and the right people. The people in your circle will either push you forward or pull you back. They'll either feed your fire or slowly put it out. If your goal is truly important to you, you have to be intentional about who you allow into your space. The truth is, humans are deeply influenced by the people around them. We pick up habits, beliefs, and even limitations from our environment. If you spend most of your time with people who settle for less, you'll feel comfortable settling for less too. If you're constantly around negativity, it will seep into your mindset no matter how strong you think you are. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who dream big, who hold themselves accountable, and who work relentlessly toward their visions, you'll naturally start rising to their level. That's why the saying is true. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. One of the most important roles that the right people play is encouragement. The journey to a big goal can be lonely. There will be times when you doubt yourself, when the results seem too far away, and when the obstacles feel overwhelming. In those moments, having someone remind you of your potential can make the difference between quitting and pushing through. The right people don't just cheer for you when things are going well. They remind you of who you are when you've forgotten. But it's not just about emotional support. It's also about accountability. A good circle won't let you drift too far off track. They'll challenge you when you start making excuses. They'll call you out when you're slacking, and they'll hold you to the standard you've set for yourself. Accountability isn't always comfortable, but it's essential if you want to grow. When you know someone is watching your progress, you're far less likely to waste time or cut corners. The right people also bring knowledge and perspective you may not have. None of us knows everything, and trying to figure everything out alone is a slow and frustrating process. A strong network exposes you to new ideas, resources, and strategies that can save you years of trial and error. Sometimes one conversation with the right person can solve a problem you've been stuck on for months. Other times they'll point out opportunities you didn't even see. Of course, not everyone in your life will support your vision, and that's something you have to be prepared for. Some people will doubt you, criticize you, or even discourage you from chasing your goal. They might not do it out of malice. Often it's because your ambition challenges their comfort zone. If you succeed, it might force them to confront their own unfulfilled potential, and that can be uncomfortable. But whether their intentions are good or not, their influence can still drag you down if you're not careful. This is why setting boundaries is so important. You don't have to cut every unsupportive person out of your life, but you do have to limit how much time and energy you give them. Protect your mental space like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. If someone consistently fills your mind with doubt, fear, or negativity, they're not helping you reach your goal. And when you're in the middle of building something great, you can't afford to carry that kind of weight. It's also important to understand that surrounding yourself with the right people isn't just about finding those who can help you. It's also about being someone worth being around. Relationships are a two-way street. If you want to attract motivated, positive, high-achieving individuals, you have to bring value to the table too. That means showing up for others, offering support when they need it, sharing your knowledge and resources, and celebrating their wins without jealousy. When you contribute to others' success, you naturally build deeper, stronger connections. Sometimes the right people won't be in your personal life yet. They might be authors you read, speakers you listen to, or mentors you follow from a distance. That's okay. In fact, in the beginning, you may have to build your circle by seeking out virtual mentors and role models. The more you immerse yourself in their mindset and values, the more you start adopting those qualities yourself. Over time, your actions will attract like-minded people into your real-world circle as well. Another benefit of surrounding yourself with the right people is that they normalize success. If you've never been around someone who has achieved what you want, it can feel almost impossible, like a distant dream. But when you see people close to you hitting big goals, taking bold steps, and living on their own terms, starts to feel possible for you too. Their achievements stop being something to envy and start being proof that it can be done. This shift in belief is powerful because your mind will stop looking for reasons you can't do it and start looking for ways you can. The right people can also help you see the bigger picture. When you're deep in the grind, it's easy to lose perspective. You might get so focused on a small setback that you forget how far you've come. A good circle reminds you of your progress, keeps you focused on the vision, and helps you navigate the ups and downs without getting lost in the moment. It's worth noting that building the right circle takes time. You might have to go through seasons where you feel isolated because you stepped away from people who don't support your growth, but you haven't yet found those who do. That's okay. It's better to be alone for a while than surrounded by the wrong influences. Use that time to develop yourself so that when the right people come along, you're ready to build meaningful, mutually beneficial relationships. And here's the thing, the right environment isn't just about people. It's also about places and habits. Your physical surroundings can either energize you or drain. If your workspace is cluttered, noisy, or distracting, it's going to be harder to focus on your goal. If your daily habits involve wasting hours on things that don't matter, no amount of positive people will save you from falling behind. The right environment means creating spaces, routines, and systems that make success easier and failure harder. Surrounding yourself with the right people doesn't mean you'll never face challenges. You still have to do the work, fight through setbacks, and stay disciplined. But it does mean you'll have support when you need it, guidance when you're lost, and encouragement when you're running on empty. It means you'll be reminded of your potential even when you've forgotten it yourself. And perhaps most importantly, it means you'll be part of a culture that celebrates growth instead of resenting it. If your goal matters to you, you can't leave your environment to chance. You have to be intentional about who you spend time with, what you expose yourself to, and what energy you allow into your life. The people around you will either speed you up or slow you down. And in the race towards your dreams, that difference can be everything. At the end of the day, no one climbs the mountain alone. You might take the steps yourself, but someone taught you how to climb. Someone encouraged you when you stumbled, and someone believed in you when the summit was still hidden in the clouds. So choose your circle wisely. Choose people who will challenge you, inspire you, and remind you that your goal is worth every ounce of effort you give it. Because with the right people by your side, the journey not only becomes more successful, it becomes far more meaningful.